How you been?
Good, 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 good. Very busy. It's the energy at the moment, Paul. And just if anyone at home is feeling it, it's just a bit of a roller coaster at the moment. So I feel a lot of people have lifted some stuff today, but it has been very challenging. And yeah, so just ride with the waves, hang in there so you're not alone. That's
Look,
all I can.
I know what you mean about feeling that energy. Now, my website, it's because I'm in financial planning, right? I hardly get any calls from a website. The
Yep,
last few days, I've got two. It's like what?
yep, yep.
So it's great. The energy's in the air. Like I like to say, there's
Absolutely.
gold dust. There's gold dust there in the air for everyone.
I love it. And it's just about to see the gold dust and don't see the shit under your feet, right? So everything's a choice. Which way are you choosing to see it?
Absolutely. So what I want to do is welcome everybody, and if anybody's got any questions or anything that they want us to cover, just drop it in the chat, and we'll cover it as best we can.
Mhm.
But we've got an interesting subject to talk to everybody about today. It's about being scammed, and
Oh
let's
my
not
God,
get
have you
scammed.
have you ever been scammed?
I have actually. It's on my list of stories to talk about. The first time I ever got scammed. And I was probably 20, and I went to a show of some kind, and I walked into the front door and handed it was a debit card back then, to
Yep.
pay to get into the show. And the guy at the door went and swiped it, took the money, came back to me and said, "Oh, it didn't go through, do it again." So I paid twice. No,
Right.
so so back then, I was probably only 20 years old. But yeah, I've been very aware of being scammed.
Yep.
How about you? You've been scammed?
Yeah, this is the most embarrassing but funny story, right? So it was a couple of years ago, just before COVID had hit. I'd broken up with my old boyfriend from months before, and I was sitting at home every weekend just watching rom-coms and just sitting there bawling my eyes out, just watching every bloody Jennifer Aniston movie, every Katherine Heigl movie. And it was really tragic. Box of tissues, and I don't eat chocolate, but it was one of those really dreary weekends. And my girlfriend said by Christmas, Sal, you got to get off the couch and you got to get online. I go, I'm not doing online dating on any level. I'm just not doing it. It's not my thing. My sister put me on, and after a couple of hours I went and vomited. It was just like, oh my God, I saw the craziest people there, and I saw some of the kids school teachers, some of the dads from school, whatever. So it was like pretty hideous. So then I think that was on Bumble or something, so I took myself off straight away. So then a couple of days later, it must have been Christmas Boxing Day, right? The next day. And I'm down at Elwood Beach, which is just a beach in Melbourne. And I'm lying on there with sunbaking with my girlfriend, because I normally go between Christmas and New Year, I go away because my kids aren't with me and it's pretty hideous. But I had this massive tax bill. So I was like, oh my God, I can't even go away. So lying on the beach, my girlfriend said, come on, let's go on and do it. So I Google up the top 10 dating sites for in your 50s, right? And it comes up with Bumble and Zoosk and this other over 50s something. And I go, oh, right, whatever. And like, I don't know if you know, but if you notice on your phone, but I've got an iPhone, and if it's in bright light, it dulls it down so you can't see your screen properly, which is really annoying, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going, she goes, come on, do it. She's been a serial dater. She knows how to do it. And I'm just going, oh, I don't know if I can do it. She goes, come on, Sal. Something has to be better than life than what you've got. So bottom line is I sign up with them all. So I don't think two of them required a credit card, or it was like I think some of them, if you're a woman, it's free, but or I don't know, but one of them, the over 50s one, required a credit card, and it was something like $12 a month or something like that. And so I don't know, I can't even remember it. And I said, oh, look, I'll just do it. I think it might have been 1 month free, and then it's $12 a month or something like that. So anyway, I signed up and didn't think anything of it. The next day, I just happened to look in my bank statements, and about $250 had been taken out. I thought, what the? And it wasn't a scam so much, but it was a small, fine writing. And to me, that's a scam where you get sucked in and they don't disclose everything. So it was the worst amount of pain in the ass, because then I had to contact NAB and say, I've got this transaction that I'm not approving. So they had to cancel my credit card between Christmas and New Year. So I couldn't use my
Waste time.
card. It was only a debit card, but it didn't matter. It meant between Christmas and New Year, one of your heavy sort of shopping times and whatever, I had no card and I was so pissed off. And the people on that site were just revolting is all I can say. So that was my one and only time. And it was my one and only go at online dating. So it's hilarious that it went pear-shaped. It was just another sign, get off, Sal, get off.
Look, I know we're not talking about dating, but I've got a bit of a story. It was probably about 2 years ago. My brother was driving me back to his place where my car was, and
Yes.
he had his son in the back seat. And now my brother's single, and so he's on these dating websites, and he's talking to my son's teacher on the website on this dating app.
No.
Yeah. So it's like, oh my God, how can you do that? Oh, how about your son? How would you like to know that your son's teacher is chatting to your father about perhaps inappropriate things?
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that was. I started chatting with one of the teachers from school. Oh no. But he was just advising me how to sort of maneuver through it. But two things just landed. I backpacked when I was 21 and went all around the world, and I spent probably a year in the States. And I ended up in New Orleans, and I don't know if they still do it, but they're really good. First of all, in New York City, they were like having the cups where you've got to like put your money in and all that sort of stuff, and you follow the cups as they're being shuffled and then you pick which cup under.
It's huge in America.
That was my first day in New York City. It's 21, just got off the plane, come from Australia, and it's like, what? And I'm going, oh, yeah. And I was with another mate from Australia. We were doing summer camp, and he goes, oh, yeah, come over, let's do this. Well, we both blew $50 going, no, it's under that cup. Okay, we'll try it again. And no, it's under that. $50 to a 21-year-old back in the 80s was huge.
I know.
You'd think I'd learned. So then we go to New Orleans. Like this is after I'd done summer camp and I'm just cruising around to get to New Orleans. And they go, I bet I know where you got your shoes. And I go, what do you mean? And I said, you wouldn't know where I got my shoes because I'm thinking Kmart out in Burwood or whatever it was, right? And so I hand over my money and you got your shoes on your feet in Bourbon Street. That's a sort of scam. Like I've never forgot that one, right? This was like, yeah, where'd you get your shoes? I'm thinking, there's no way you know where you get my shoes from.
Oh, that's funny.
In Bourbon Street, yeah. So, yeah, my three scammy moments that I strongly recall. But, but we all know someone that's been scammed. We all know someone that's been scammed.
Well, I know, and we know smart people that have been scammed.
Yeah.
I know of one woman who, and this is, I don't know if it is a scam, right? There's a lot of older women that are looking for a mate and they find someone online.
Oh, yes, catfishing.
Yeah, is it catfishing, right? Okay, and what it is, it's they get somebody's photo, and then they pretend to be someone. And I actually had a friend of mine that, she's retired. She's been a very successful businesswoman, got tons of money.
Yeah.
But she's single and she's bored because she was a high-powered woman.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she meets someone on Facebook of all places, and
true love.
Next minute she's going, "Oh, I met this really great guy. He's in Africa and he's working for Shell, and he's just waiting for some money. He's just asking if," and I go straight away, "It's a scam." She goes, "Oh no, it's genuine. I've done it." I said, "It's a scam." I spent the next 2 days searching around, looking for evidence of this, how this was a scam or whatever it was. As it turned out, I eventually found a picture of this guy who was in Spain.
Spain, right?
Yeah, and so I turned around to my friend. I said, "Oh well, your guy's not actually in Africa like he says he is. He's actually in Spain. He's just posted on Facebook this picture and all that." And so my friend actually went back online to the person that was pretending to be this guy,
Yeah.
And she said to him, she said, no, you scamming me because I know that you're not this person. So what ended up happening, there was a 20-something-year-old Nigerian in Nigeria, of all places.
Yeah.
And
Nigerians for it. Yeah.
he turned around to her and he said, I wanted to tell you so badly, but I thought you wouldn't like me. And she forgave him and kept it, and still kept it on. And so, yeah.
It can happen
So
to anyone, as you said, smart people.
yeah, I mean, this is a person who, yeah, she was very well connected, very wealthy woman, and yeah, so
And how
it can
do you
happen to
feel?
anyone.
Yeah, and at the moment, scams are rife. Like, look at Medicare. Look at, was it Optus? What are the Telstra?
The
Medicare,
Telstra one, yeah,
massive,
and
and Medicare with private records, and
yeah,
oh my God. And how many times have we had our phone ring? You answer it, and it's Amazon or it's the ATO. And when it first happened, I reckon it was 3 or 4 years ago. I had a client who was training, and she said, "I've just got to take this." She goes, "It's the ATO," and it's like, no, what are you talking about? And then I got home and I got the same phone call.
yeah.
So that was 3 or 4 years ago, but now it's gone off the dial, like absolutely off the dial.
Well, about the 15th of January this year, they must have just turned it on because all of a sudden it was bang, 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 bang. You got 4, 5 a day. It was crazy. And
Yep.
I remember the first ATO one I got. It was, I don't know, about 6, 7 years ago. And, the ATO, that's kind of someone you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Considering your past, babe.
yeah, we know your past. So you don't want to mess with it. And it's their turn, and they've said they've got to contact them because I haven't paid a bill or whatever. And
Yep.
I've gone, this doesn't feel right. So I actually went on and I was actually out in Darling Harbour at the time. And so
Yep.
but I had my computer. So I went and I searched it and I discovered it was a scam. Right. And so I just went, thank God. But then like a week later, there's another scam saying, we've got with the ATO and we've got some money for you. Right?
Yeah.
So I've rung them up and said, yeah, you got some money. Can you please send it to me? And they said, give me your bank account details. And I go, no, you're not getting my bank account details. Just send it to me. I'll come and pick it up, whatever you want. For about 15 minutes, I was there saying, send it to me. And eventually they just hung up on me.
Yeah. It's become so sophisticated. I remember at least 10 years ago in the mail, when we used to get mail, right? It was the lottery. Congratulations, you've won this overseas lottery. Do you remember ever getting any of those? And then there was lots from overseas about someone's died and they've left you their inheritance. They were the two main letters I used to get all the time. The first time thinking, I don't even know this person. And this was before it was really common. And that was before technology took off, like the letters were one thing. But now it's so sophisticated. So it's via the phone, but it's also in person. I remember a couple of years ago, one of my clients was at home and was door knocked by someone from Telstra, going to massive extremes about swapping, upgrading her service and wanting the credit card. And what the biggest thing that you just push the button on is if it doesn't feel right. I've got a saying, if it looks like shit, smells like shit, it is shit, right? If it doesn't feel right, that is shit, right? You just, question everything. And unfortunately, we're living in a time where we need to question everything, the authenticity. We can't trust, right? We just can't trust. You've got to trust your gut. Once again, we're coming back to the energy that you're feeling within you. It's super important because it's so sophisticated, Paul. It's crazy.
So when you talk sophisticated, right? This is how sophisticated it's got, right? I got a message on my phone from, I don't know, Energy Australia or someone saying that I hadn't paid a bill, but it didn't feel right. Okay.
Yeah, right.
And then I looked at the message, and you know how if you got text message, there's a whole history of text messages.
Yep.
And it was in this whole history. So I gone, it doesn't feel right, but it's part of the history. It must be right. So I actually contacted them and I said, look, something doesn't feel right, but I've got this history of you sending me this message. And they said, no, it's a scam. They've now managed to figure out how to get into a message conversation and insert themselves into that. So that's something you've got to be very careful of. Just
wow, it's really bad. And they really prey on oldies. My mum has been
yes,
scammed so many times. Now she's really computer illiterate, and what happened? It was about a month ago. Someone contacted her and said, pretending to be me, sent a message to her saying, can you send me some money? Pretending to be me. I've dropped my phone in the toilet and it's not working. Can you send me some money? I need to get a new phone. So mum's going, oh my God. So she's put forward her credit card details, her email addresses, everything. And then it happened that my brother rang her and she was saying she's stressing out, or it might have been my sister. And they've said, Mum, that's a scam. And she goes, oh dear. And didn't even think to try and ring me in the beginning, because people, you're brought up with trust in this day and age.
yeah.
We're brought up to not trust, right? We trust and believe ourselves, but not trust and believe anything on the outside of us. It's frightening, and it's happened a number of times. And the mum had to cancel all of her credit cards, and for older people, she's in her 70s, a real pain in the butthole. And besides that, getting into bank accounts, locking down. I had a friend who was doing some porn, right? And had like literally was, what's it called when they blackmail you, right? Blackmailed about,
Yeah.
send me some money, otherwise I'm locking up your computer, taking all the content, everything. I've heard of heaps of this. Of people.
Can I tell you a story what happened to me this year?
Were you on porn?
No. What happened was this girl on Facebook, right? When I was on Facebook. Yeah. So this girl's straight away she goes, oh, you're a nice person, you got a big heart, you kind of like looking after me. And straight away it was just over the top, right?
Yeah.
And then she's turned around to me and she says, she's actually rang me up, because you can ring up on Facebook. So she's literally rang me up and seen that I'm the real. So I've kind of caught a glimpse of her, and then she's hung up, right?
Yep.
And she's always saying, let's go online, let's go on, let's turn it. And I go, no, I don't do that, right?
Yep.
And then what happened one day was, because my computer, my actual camera is actually in the keyboard, so it's never on. I've just got a attachable camera, which is fortunate. Yeah. And what happened is she's rung me up, right, again, with the video full on, and there she is, just tits hanging out.
No.
She says, I can't see you. I said, yeah, I'm not in for this, I'm married. I keep saying I'm married. And I've told this girl, I'm married, I'm happily married, I'm not interested, right? What ended up happening was she then sent an email saying, I've got pictures of you. Now I knew she didn't, because
yeah, there weren't any there. Yeah.
Weren't any there. But she said, I've got pictures of you. If you don't pay me some money, I will send them all out. And I've gone, oh my gosh. And I've got young kids, right? And like we went to the school to listen to about the dangers, right? And especially for girls, if you send a risky picture out, it goes viral really, really fast, especially if you're a young girl. You've got to be very, very careful. And there's a lot of scams where, if you're an 18-year-old male, you've got one thing on your mind. And sorry about this, girls and guys, but you've only got one thing on your mind. It's
I've got nature. 3 boys. Trust me, I know.
I've got 3 brothers, and I'm male dominated, so I know what it. When you're in the bus, you just hear a girl and you're ready. And I can just imagine how many 18-year-olds are going to be sweet talk by a girl to do things online, get recorded, and before you know it, you pay me and they're going to blackmail you. It's
oh my God.
It's a whole new world out there that you and I are fortunate. We didn't have to navigate that world, but my kids are going to, and I've got boys, and
It is frightening. So Zlata's just is on, and she said she found us. But I remember
yes,
going to my kids' school a few years ago, and pop-up screens pop up. So from the age of 12, and this was a few years ago, so it'd be way more, but from the age of 12, that you're going to be see at least one pornographic thing per week that will pop up on your screens. And, not searching or anything, it's just going to come to you. So what you're saying is really important. Kids just going, oh, yeah, I'll do this, and then they get blackmailed. It's frightening. I know, as you brought that up, I remember through Insta stories, I get contacted all the time by Eastern European prostitutes, or whatever.
yeah.
Well, I think they're prostitutes, but the same sort of thing.
The other thing you need to be aware of is if you have a look at your phone and you see, oh, there's my camera, right? Okay.
Yeah.
They TikTok, I think TikTok have this. I'm not sure if Instagram have it, but this is what they're saying at the school about the school. You think that you're covered if you cover that, right? But there's actually hidden cameras.
No.
So there's actually cameras that you don't even know are there, and they're just filming everything. So don't do anything at all risky.
That is frightening. That is frightening. It's like, well, we just don't know. So, this is where we're talking about scammers and accessing your bank accounts, but it's just everything in your life, right? That is but your money is the most important part, because that's what they're all trying to get to at the end of the day. They're trying to scam you for your money, right? For your identity. Yeah. It's your identity, actually. And,
Well, that's a big one. If you lose your identity, I mean, again, we're talking probably in the 70s now. My father was driving along in a car, and he had his seatbelt underneath him, right? And the coppers pulled him over for not wearing a seatbelt. And he said, well, I've got my seatbelt underneath me. And they did a name check on him, right? And they got him out of the car, and they're going to arrest him because somebody had stolen his identity way back then.
No.
So you've got to be careful with everything.
Everything. So, I mean, I've got a few suggestions of things to do, very simple suggestions. And one thing, how I discovered it, was checking my statements. So it's really easy when you have an online app with your bank accounts, because you can just see what's coming in and coming out. And I do that every day just to keep tabs on, has my Netflix account sort of been debited today or whatever. But that is how I discovered the whole online thing, was that, what? 200 something bucks came out. Oh, yeah. Another time I was in Turkey, and I was backpacking back in the 80s again, same thing. A huge amount had been taken from my credit card, and I think I had a limit back in the day of $5,000 or something, and Dad was managing my money back at home. And of course we had to phone through whatever's. And because my parents didn't know where I was and couldn't get hold of me, no mobile phones or whatever, they had to contact the Australian Embassy. And then they had to put out a search for where I was. I was actually in Ankara in Turkey, I think, but someone had used my credit card when I bought some carpets, right? And so my parents didn't know where I was or what had happened, and they debited it through $5,000 on it. So check your statements, because it happens, and keep your receipts. But I've got to say, I mean, NAB, because that's who I bank with, have been really big on, they can pause your account if you're traveling overseas now that we're starting to travel again. But it's up to you to keep on top of it until you realize, right? So they can freeze old accounts, but the hassle and the pain in the ass of having to get new cards and, with your auto debits and stuff, setting that all up, pain in the butthole, big time. But never give your PIN to anyone. Where do you keep your passwords? Do you keep them on your phone? Where do you keep that sort of stuff? Because, I mean, I'm a bad one for it, but your passwords, it's really important to get secure passwords, because I know it's easy to do ABC 1, 2, 3 or whatever it is, but this is where the sophistication now, we can get hacked left, right and centre. How are you with your PINs? What else was I going to say?
Well, we'll just talk about password. Again, the worst password you can actually have is password.
So people still do that. It's I get it. I mean, older people would. They can't remember what their passwords are, right? Or putting their name or their birth date or something.
Yeah. Look, about 20 years ago, my mother hacked into her boss's account by writing password.
Actually, I broke into not broke into, but I picked it on my ex-husband's email address one day. I thought, oh, that
Yeah.
was really handy. I was looking for something, but I just picked it because it was too easy, right? But yeah,
Look, I'll tell you a really disgusting story. I knew he wasn't really a friend, but he and I were both single at the same time, and we had the same common interest, which I think you know what it is, right? Um,
women.
but we, yeah, exactly. And what it was is we were friends because we would go out, and I had enough courage to go up and talk to women, right? So it's a solid
Oh,
game
you had
talking to
your own
women.
little scam going, right?
Oh yeah. Look, I could tell you I could tell you the line I used to pick up my wife because it was the line I used on every girl. Anyway.
What was it? I'd love to hear it.
All right. So you go up to the girl and say, "Hi there. I just want 30 seconds of your time. I've got a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, who's just started dating a girl. It's her birthday in 2 weeks' time. Does she buy her an expensive present or not?" And then whatever they say, I got to the stage where, because I lived in Martin Place, one
Yeah.
Friday I went down and met this girl, used that on the girl. And then the following Friday, I went to the same pub, and above this pub was ING, right?
Yeah.
So they all came down after works and met another girl the following week with the same line. And this girl's gone back to work and said, "Oh, I met this guy that had this really interesting opening." The next minute, I'm on the internet saying, "Watch out for this guy, Sydney's biggest player."
That's oh, that is so funny. So funny.
It was funny.
Oh,
And I totally forgot what I was talking about.
it doesn't matter. That's a good story.
Oh, yeah. No, so Damien, right? And what he would do is he had a very, he was very good with computers and internet, and he loved Asian women, and he loved Asian women that had just arrived in Australia and were still, holy, whatever you want to call it, right? That was his type. And what he would do is he would get their email addresses and their passwords, and he would be spying on them through their passwords and all of that. It was some of the stories I could tell you about what happened. And one of the things that intrigued me the most about Damien was what woman of that generation, right? So we're talking, this was what, 12, 15 years ago now, okay?
Yep.
So what woman, and I was a bit old, so he was probably another 10 years younger than me. So what woman will put up with? It astounded me what woman will put up with. Don't be a nice guy. I tell you what, it don't work. Be a bastard. It works real well.
Yeah. I was just writing down some other ideas because what I do now when I receive emails, I look at when you can look at the actual sending address, so it gives
always do that.
Yeah.
That was my biggest tip: is always look at where it comes from. All right. So look, the reason why we're talking about this is because on Saturday night, we sat down to watch the family movie, and my wife, her father's trying to sell some furniture on Gumtree or just get rid of it. It's old furniture, but it never got used. It's typical Greeks. They have the nice furniture but never use it, and then
it's covered in plastic. It's in the good room.
Yeah, they have it covered in plastic and all that. Yeah, my big fat Greek wedding. Yeah, so it's in good shape. So if anybody wants some nice furniture, my wife's selling it. But what happened was, she put this listing up, and literally within 5 seconds, she goes, "Oh my God, somebody's got somebody wants this." And the email, it was on Gumtree, so watch out for Gumtree scams. So she's turned around, and the other girl said, "Look, I'm on a boat offshore. I will pay you in your PayPal. Just tell me where it is and all that." And then she got a second message. very similar. Again, I'm buying it for my son. Got the money, got everything ready. Just send me your PayPal details.
Yeah.
And she got another 5 or another 3. She got 5 or 7 in total in the first like half an hour. And she was so excited. And then the next day she turned around and she said, you know what? That just felt wrong, right?
Yeah.
So, so she's gone, she's done a bit of research, and she's gone back to this first lady and said, look, I don't think I'm going to sell it to you anymore. And the lady got really nasty. She said, I've sent you money in PayPal, which she hadn't because it was a scam, right? She said, you're going to go to jail, you're going to do all of these things. And you've got, that's another thing about these scams, because one of the things that I went through for about a month or two, I was watching scammers on YouTube, and it was the Amazon scam. And what they would do is they would ring you up and say, oh, I've overpaid you, and then get your account and get your money out. So that's another thing you can do, is go onto YouTube and have a look at these scammers and what they do. It's a proper profession in India. They got call centers all over the place.
Oh, it's so sophisticated. It's ridiculous to the lengths that people will go. And I reckon our biggest takeaway tip today is, if it doesn't feel right, it most probably isn't. You've got to trust your gut, trust your sixth sense, really go within. Because as I said before, if it looks like shit, smells like shit, it is shit, babe.
It is shit, absolutely.
That's my holistic tip for the day.
But it's so easy. I mean, we were talking about the sophistication of the scams, right? Another one that what I was told just a week ago was, somebody was downstairs and got an email saying you need to pay a bill or something. So he forwarded the email up just to his partner or spouse or whatever, all right, so that she could pay it. And within that, just from one to the other, got intercepted.
Oh,
and,
my God.
and somebody else took over. So we're talking 10 seconds maybe. So again, if it don't feel right, just question
everything. And particularly coming into Christmas, have awareness of all the scams that are going on. That deal too good to be true. Well, it is. It isn't true. It's not possible. What have I got here? Keep your PIN and your password safe.
Yeah.
A lot of places have this 4-step authentication, particularly through Google or whatever else, and confirming on other devices. So always pay attention. And like for older people, tell your kids if it doesn't feel right, or if someone's asking, question everything, absolutely everything. And when you get these scams on your phone, you can go through and block the caller. And like we were saying, check the email address. And check your statements, check your receipts, check your bank accounts, because that's what they're trying to hit, is your bank account. And man, like you said, phishing, appalling. So much money, and they're getting people at an emotional level. We started this conversation about online dating, right? And this is about getting people that are emotionally isolated, lonely. They're the ones that are played upon.
Yeah. Look, I've heard of stories of, and I'm not going to say women, right? Men too, right? Both older of the older generation that are lonely.
Yeah.
And you just need to pay a little bit of attention, and they will fall in love with you, because nobody's paid attention. If nobody's paid attention to you for 10 years and somebody goes, oh, you're so beautiful, you're going to lap it up, because everybody wants to think they're beautiful, and everybody is beautiful. But you just got to be careful when somebody's turning around saying you're beautiful. Kind of like what I said about that girl. She's saying, she was a good-looking girl. You could tell by her picture. But I'm going, I know that a good-looking girl at that age has got no desires on an older guy. Oh, there's so much space there.
Juicy wallet.
That's right. Unless you're Rupert Murdoch, and you've got billions of dollars.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point, Paul, is that scammers now are really playing on your emotions, your isolation, your loneliness, particularly out of COVID, the whole porn industry or whatever you want to call it. You just start to have a look, and then they take all of your stuff and try to blackmail you, take all your content, your contacts, whatever it is. There's a lot of people playing on people's emotions of being, not fully tech savvy. Look at my mum, scammed all the time. So I really think at the end of the day, you got to question everything, like we said. Trust no one, but trust your gut. Because if it doesn't feel right, your gut never leads you astray. Every single time I listen to my gut, it takes me on the right place. And when I don't, you just got to trust it. You got to connect in, tap in, and just ask the question with yourself. Does this feel real or not? Question everything. Ask your friends, say, what do you think about this? Or ask your parents, or get parents to ask their kids, whatever. If it doesn't feel right, and build that awareness that this is the world that we're living in at the moment. Very, very tech savvy and very, very sneaky. Ooh, we thought COVID was bad. Technology's worse.
COVID's all just part of the whole system.
Yeah,
but the other thing is that people want to be nice, or they want to be accommodating, and it's part of the socialization. Yeah, it's part of the socialization. So it's all just part of the socialization. We've got to learn to say no at times as well. It's an important thing, is to be able to say no to people when it doesn't feel right, and especially if it's a stranger.
And it's hard because you're trying to be nice. Are you able to check just to see if there was anything on the Facebook page there with any questions?
Well, Slava said, yay, I found you. So, yay, Slava.
Yeah.
We found you. But that's the only comment so far. I'm not sure on YouTube.
Never give your PIN away. Put your passwords, get secure passwords. I've started doing that now because it was just, we need passwords for everything. But like Google Chrome, for example, can manage your passwords that way. Your phone can manage your passwords. So it is really important to use these more secure passwords. And I'm learning that, very slowly. I'm a slow adopter, but man, because you just can't use your passwords or your ABC123 anymore. It's just not safe enough. It's just a straight fact of the life.
Well, you can actually get software that can store all of your passwords for you as well. So,
and also those, you can get the wallets where you can't be scammed. Because how many times I've heard of people that were traveling in Bali, for example, using their thing, and the stripe is copied. So the stripe on your card, so people can keep accessing. I know my old trainer, he went to Bali, he came back and all his bank account was wiped out, had like $3,000 or something, and he'd gone to an ATM to take some cash out in Bali, and they record the code or something. You can now get those little wallets that, really cheap. They sell them in the post office, where they can protect because they can scam when your cards in your wallet. Like it's so sophisticated, it's beyond my pay grade, this one, but it's just like, whatever you can do to protect yourself. And this is where it's unfortunately you've got to trust no one when it comes to your money or important stuff like that, because you've worked hard for it, right? So you don't want to just let it go.
Well, they do say a fool and the money are soon parted, so you don't want to be that fool.
Yeah. What did you say that again? Repeat that.
A fool and their money are soon parted.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, well, that was me in New York, 21. It was under that cup. It was under that cup. Oh, yeah, I know where you got your shoes, where I got my shoes. Yeah. There's no way you'd know that one. You got your shoes on you.
When I went to America, I saw the same scam as well, but I never got caught up in it, so I was fortunate that way. I kind of knew it was a scam.
I don't like to say young and dumb, but young and dumb at that time. New country, new horizons, backpacking. It's exciting, and it's like, oh yeah, because we're so isolated here. But our kids are brought up to be a lot more savvy, obviously, than we were, because they're brought up with all this online technology. So very different to when it was our time.
Look, I think one of the best things that could happen to you is for you to be young and dumb and to actually be scammed, but not badly scammed. But like you said, when you're 20 years old and $50 is a lot of money, especially when you're in another country. So that's your holiday money. Something like that makes you a lot wiser. You want to be scammed. If you're going to be scammed when you're young and dumb, so you can learn for when you're older.
Ab-
Okay.
Absolutely. As I say, fail fast, right? So
Fail fast, yeah.
learn from your mistakes, because it's only going to put you in better stead moving forward. I think this is a really good topic to bring up, particularly coming around Christmas. So many scams.
Yeah.
Who do you trust? You're seeing these bargains and these deals. Just question everything and take it back to the source, like you were saying.
Well, let's you do a bit of a survey. Did you get a phone call today, a scam phone call today?
Yes, I do. There's something at the moment coming from Bairnsdale, and I don't know, when I look at my missed calls or ones that I just haven't answered. Yeah, quite a few. How about you? Let me just have a look in my phone. 1, 2. That's 2 today.
Yeah, so we got one on the main phone, which I have to answer now because MLC ring me on my main phone. So yes, I got that one. I got a few phone calls and I have to answer them because if it's someone ringing me up through my website,
yeah.
I don't know. So I answer them, and I've gone, oh, it's probably a scam. But I think I had one hang up on me on my phone. So that's 2 today, just on there. If I go to my email, you were talking about the Dear Beneficiary one. If you go to your spam folder, you probably got hundreds.
Didn't even think of the spam folder. Let me have a look in there.
So I'm just going to go and have a look and see. I forgot my email address. But I know, like, I went to my spam folder yesterday and it's all just Ray-Ban. And you go,
yeah, right.
So let's have a look at my spam folder. Oh, look, I'm going to share my thing with you. I'm going to show it to you.
Okay. Oh, hang on, I'm on the wrong page for you.
I'll share screen. Brave tab. There's my spam folder. Just you see the Ray-Ban.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's ridiculous. That's so many of those. I think Gmail's really good at putting into junk or spam.
Yeah. So I mean, just look at all those Ray-Ban. Like,
oh my goodness. Yeah.
Look at that. And then I've got this, whoever that is, Joe Corolla.
Yep.
Google anniversary. There's a winning lottery. You've got to be careful of that one.
Yeah.
I get them all the time. Just so many sunglasses. Oh, Ingrid Galloway. Yeah, that's a spam.
But also, with crypto stuff, there's a lot of crypto sort of stuff that's come through too. There you go. Daily Traders, S&P 500.
Oh, and that's the other thing I hate when you go onto Telegram and they've added you to one of these crypto sites. Do you get added?
Excuse me, my Telegram, I'll show you. It is all it's all business stuff related. Stock market trends, crypto, all the way through. Oh, it's hard to see. Telegram, Get Rich, the whole thing, Cameron Capital Insurance, investment, economy, crypto. Oh, it's just everywhere. Yeah, worldwide, bloody everything.
But when you see this happening, do you ask yourself, does it actually work?
As in, people getting
falling for it, yes.
Yeah, they must do. They must do because
if it doesn't work, they wouldn't be doing it. So it has to be working. I know earlier on this year, I had a girl from the Philippines fall for that Dear Beneficiary. You've got a rich uncle in Africa. And she's asking me for money. And I go, no, it's a scam. She goes, no, it's not a scam. I said, yes, it is a scam. She said, oh, no, I've gone to the bank. No, I said, it's a scam. I know this scam.
Yep.
No, and she said, I said, you're not going to give me my money back because you're not going to have that money to give me back in the first place.
Yeah.
No, but she was so excited about the idea of perhaps having enough money to help her whole family out and have a bit of money in the bank, to have
Absolutely. So all I can say is coming back to this is all about the energy once again. If it doesn't feel right, you have to trust what you're feeling inside because this is your money. And it's when you're making investments too. So not just about scams, but just when you're making choices, you've got to make them from within yourself. Does it feel right? Does it sit right? It's like when you're choosing shares and stuff. Does it sit right with me? Do I feel aligned with it? And this is where the scamming just takes it the whole next level. But it's at the end of the day, the tip is the same. Go within, feel it. Does it feel right? If it doesn't, start to question. And as we said, question everything, right? Unfortunately, it's a world where, trust and believe within ourselves, but don't trust and believe anybody else. Go within the answers because it's a sophisticated scamming world. Technology has got all these algorithms. It's got all these tricks and cameras, and they know your heartbeat. They know when you go to the toilet.
Cameras in the phone, as I said. Yeah, you think
Frightening.
are covered? It's frightening. We have no idea. And the other thing that everybody should have is on their computers and probably phones is a decent antivirus.
Yeah.
So I know I got Kasperovich or whatever, and they can actually open up a secure web window for me when I do go on my banks if I want to. So get yourself a decent security
Really
system as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that there's some really good firewalls within Apple products, like within the Mac.
Yeah.
Security software is paramount. So they can't get in. It's just like, and I don't quite understand it, firewalls and whatever, but they just literally can't open these banking walls, so to speak, and get into your account. Getting into your, what did they used to have in the banks? Your little
big bank vaults.
Yeah.
Safety deposit boxes.
Safety deposit boxes. We're going back to basics. We literally are taking the money out. We're sticking it under our mattress. We've got more chance of, less chance getting robbed at home than you're getting robbed online these days.
Well, the problem is, if we're going to be talking about being robbed, we're being robbed blind just by what's happening. Inflation is robbing us blind anyway. We got our bank notice that rates are going up again. So like it's gone up almost 20% in less than a year.
You're kidding me? I didn't realize it was that much. I've just gone, oh yeah, another one. But yeah,
so it's almost 20%. It's not quite. It's more like it's 15%.
Yeah, that's still a lot. That's still a lot.
That's a lot. You think of it, if you've got a $2 million mortgage, right, and it's gone up 15%, you're paying $12,000. Your mortgage is $12,000. It's just gone up another 15% of $12,000, and this is all after tax money. So the banks are the biggest perpetrators of
getting scammed, and every angle when someone's giving it us up the arse everywhere we look, every corner we turn.
Look, one day what I'll do is I'll actually do a I'm tempted to. I probably won't because they'll probably kick me off. But maybe I'll do an exposing the bank secrets one day where I can explain to you how the banks are the biggest crooks in our society.
Yeah.
And they get away with it because they're the most. I was looking at the banks today, right? I was just having a look at the market cap, right?
Yep.
Of the 8 biggest companies in Australia, 5 are banks.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you've got BHP, which is the biggest company. Then we've got Telstra, Westpac. We got
I'm so out of it. BHP, Telstra, and then is it Westpac? Westpac bigger than that.
Sorry, NAB's bigger than. You're right. NAB's bigger than Westpac. I just know that BHP is the biggest. And we got ANZ and Macquarie Bank. And Macquarie Bank at one stage was the third biggest bank.
Is Macquarie above CommBank?
No. Commonwealth Bank's number 1. It's the second big. Yeah, it's the second. It's way out.
Because I worked at CommBank.
Let me show you. I'm going to show you something. Okay, so this is because I know this is my profession and all that, and I just want to show you something. I'm going to share my screen with you, so that you can actually just see what, again, other scams, the news, they putting out lies to you, right?
Oh
So
my God, don't get me started.
don't trust the news, right?
Yeah.
But
And this is where we're in a world where we can't trust anyone or believe anything, and you've got to dig deep and get
yeah.
more of an answer.
Yep. Okay. So can you see this one? This is the Commonwealth Bank of Australia.
Yep.
Okay. So I just want to go down there, and I want to show you, what do I want to show you? The recommendations.
Yep.
Somewhere over there is going to tell you how many people recommend it and how many don't. Somewhere. Oh, I've gone past it. Of course, there's live thing. Okay, the breakdown. You see where the breakdown, it says 0 people say buy it, 12 people are saying sell it, and or hold, and 10 people are saying sell. Right? Okay. So, and this is meant to be. It was last updated the 1st of the 11th, 2022. Right? Okay.
Yep.
So these are the recommendations from so-called professional people around. Okay. If we have a look, this is the charge of the Commonwealth Bank over the last year, but let's just go back the last 20 years. Okay. You can see how it's gone. Let's just go back 5 years, because I've had it for 5 years. Okay. So when I bought it about 5 years ago, it had more sells than buys.
Yep.
Right. So more professionals said you should be selling Commonwealth Bank. I bought my Commonwealth Bank at $73. It's now $107. So that's gone up over 30%, right? So 30%. Yeah. So that's a pretty damn good return. It's also giving you a dividend yield. It means it's paying interest of almost 3.5%, well, more. It's 3.58%, right? So you get one shares getting you 3.58%. So that's Commonwealth Bank. Let's have a look at Westpac Bank. And I mentioned Westpac because that's what I bought in my superannuation.
Right.
So if we go down there, it's got 10 buys, 4 holds, and 3 sells.
Yep.
Right. Okay. It's been like that for the last 5 years. Let's see what's happened to Westpac over the last 5 years. It's gone backwards.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
Okay. So if you were there going, market index, it must be a reputable site. I couldn't say that word properly. You go to the broker's consensus and you go, the recommendation is a buy there. Let's go and buy it. Well, there was a buy there 5 years ago, and look, I bought one at $30-something, right?
Yeah.
It's now down at 24. So that's down almost 30%. Okay.
Have you got NAB ones?
No, I had NAB at one stage, but we can have a look at NAB. So we go to NAB, and this is where you see the market cap, right? So you see market cap's $83.82 billion, right? It's sector ranked. So in the banks, it's the third biggest bank of 298 banks. It's the 5th biggest company on the ASX, right? That's where you see that. Can you see?
Okay. So there's 3,426 companies listed on the stock exchange.
Yeah.
Right.
Where does it say that? Yeah, of 2,246. Yep. So then if we go to NAB, which is the second biggest, it's the second biggest so it's the second biggest bank. It's the 4th biggest company, right?
Yep.
It's giving you a dividend, so it's giving you a yield or like interest of 4.52% per annum.
Yeah.
Right? It's got 12 buys, 7 hold, and no sells. Okay, got updated. It's a recommended buy. Let's have a look at the last 5 years.
And can you show me the last?
That is the last 5.
Yeah,
that's the last 5 years. It's gone sideways. It's slightly up.
Can you show the scale for 20 years?
20 years?
I just said, the next one along. So what has been I remember.
It's the same as it was 20 years ago.
Yeah. Because I remember when it hit the $40. This is a prime example of me not being listened to. So long story short, I worked at NAB and my ex-husband worked at NAB, and we had some NAB shares.
Yeah.
And I clearly remember it was January. So it probably was about January when it peaked.
Yeah.
And they were 40-something bucks. And, we got them as staff, you were allocated shares. So you just kept every bonus you got shares, right? And I've gone, let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it, because I know something in me said, just sell. And then next thing you know, it went down to $22, even 18. It just dropped from $40 down to 18. And it's never come back up again. Once again, should have trusted my gut. Remember the story I had about with my dad on the second board company? And here I was, a uni student, and I invested in, can't remember what it was, second board company, 5 cents a share. And they went up to $15 a share. And so it was $1,500 or something that I had made in 3 weeks. I said, sell. And he goes, no. And it's like October 1989, boom, what happened? The crash happened, or 1987, sorry. The crash happened. And it's like, shit, lost my money. So once again, you got to follow your money. Follow the niggle inside. You got to do it.
One of the things is, and I know we talk about scams, but you got to be very careful with a bubble or everybody getting in and getting excited and hyping something up. I'm going to show you what's happened to Bitcoin, because it was only a year ago where everybody was saying, cryptocurrency, you've got to go Bitcoin, you've got to do Bitcoin, it's the best thing since last days. Yeah. It's going to be around. So I'm just going to go and show you, I've got to go there. So, one thing about cryptocurrencies, this is my view, right? Okay. The technology that runs cryptocurrencies is here to stay, right? It's very important. But there's thousands of different cryptocurrencies out there, and you just don't know which one's going to be a good one and which one isn't going to be a good one. So I'm going to share my screen again.
And then I'll have to dash after that. I've got to get it.
No, I get. Oh, look at the time already. Oh my God! All right, let me just share my screen. So there it is. So this is US dollars, right? So Bitcoin's down, what's that, $15,723.
Yep.
Right, okay. It was as high as $66,000.
Shit. Wow.
Was it 46, maybe 47,000? And how long's that? That's 1 year. Let's go 5 years. Right, okay. So its high was, what's that say, 64? Is that 64,000?
High, about 64 grand. Yep.
And look at it now, it's 15,000, right? Wow. So one of the sports I watch is Formula One, and all of a sudden, crypto has just been, I've got to unshare the screen. Crypto has just been sponsoring all these Formula One cars because.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
and they're all going broke now.
Yeah, CoinSpot was doing all the footballers that in this season. They were all the main sponsors.
Yeah. They're the new tobacco of.
Exactly. And, well, I don't think they'll be sponsoring next year.
No, they've blown the market. So that's another thing. If there's a lot of excitement, the way I like to explain it is, if you're a fisherman, what you would do is you like to throw bait in the water to get a bit of a feeding frenzy. And whenever there's a feeding frenzy, you want to get a little bit of that feeding frenzy so you can get a bit of the bubble, but you want to be out before they pull that net up, because that's exactly what they do. So if you're there having a look at something and everybody's talking about it, here's a tip for you. It's called the bellhop syndrome, right? What happened? Years ago, before we had computers and all that, and we had gentlemen, you would hop into a lift and the bellhop would say, what floor would you like to get on, right?
Yep.
And the bellhop would, because everyone was getting in the lift, he would yell all the conversations, right?
Yep.
So if you ever got into a lift back then and the bellhop starts to tell you what shares to buy,
Oh,
That's
right.
when the market's saturated. That's when you got to get out because they telling fibs, of course, right?
Yeah.
Right? So the current bellhop is the taxi drivers because they're always driving around listening to conversations. So if you
Yeah.
hop into a cab and they say, no, Telstra's a share, Telstra's a share. You hop into another cab and Telstra's a share, Telstra's a share. Sell Telstra, do the opposite.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I reckon we should wind it up there because
We
I've got a
should,
date.
yeah. Okay, I didn't even realize what the time was. All right.
But it's so this is a really fantastic topic, right? It
Yeah,
really is.
it is. All right. Okay.
Interesting,
All right. Well,
everybody.
thank you for your time today, and I'll see you. I'll see you next week.
Okay,
I
thank
won't.
you.
I'll see you before, but we'll see everybody else next week.
Yeah, and Zlata, thank you for coming along today. So are you able?
Thanks, Lada. Yeah, and I think you stayed all the way through, so thank you. Yeah, I found you. Thanks. Yeah, she had to go meet her son.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.